Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Collative Podcast, where we talk about different aspects and avenues in the business. And today we have a very esteemed guest with us. His name is Sachin Kumar, and he's the founder of Jumbo Blockchain. In today's episode, we'll be talking a little deeper about what blockchain technology is, what are its aspects and avenues, plus, we'll be talking deep about Web 3.0. So, here we welcome Mr. Sachin Kumar. Hi, Sachin. Very warm welcome to our show. And before we start, I just want you to introduce yourself to the audience and give us a little brief about the company and what you do and what is your role in the company.
Thank you, Harsh, and thank you for inviting. So, let me do my introduction first, what my background is. So, the first 20 years of my life I spent in a village,
Oh,
and I am the first engineer from my village. That's something very different, and people are not aware about it. So then after that, I did my engineering from a private college. I worked in IT for 20 years, worked with multiple organizations, Patni, Infosys, and then IBM, spent 9 years with IBM. And then I decided to start something on my own, and I failed it back in 2017.
what was your startup?
It was related to some technology,
Okay.
and we tried to make it successful, but there were certain gaps. To fulfill those gaps, I went to ISB and did my PGP Max from there.
Okay.
And then I moved out from my jobs, and then after that, I started my own venture back in 2021. It was with a very small, use case or application around it for which we started, but it changed over a period of time. Now I run a layer one blockchain startup based out of India, company registered in India,
Okay.
and our mainnet is live. We have around six enterprise use cases which are beneficial for the different businesses. So we'll talk about it.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that you have six enterprises working on the use cases of blockchain. Can you give a little more light on that? Like, what are those, and in which sector those six enterprises are working?
So our all use cases are industry agnostic, basically.
Okay.
Let me give an example of nowadays ESG reporting is the mandate for the listed companies which are there listed with in India like with SEBI
Okay.
and ES in US like SEC.
Okay.
So ESG reporting is a mandate, and there
Can
are
you, before we move ahead, can you give a little brief about what ESG report is?
so okay. So ESG is the environmental, social, and the governance.
Okay.
Environmental, social, and governance comes under the UNSDG, which is called the United Nations Sustainable Development
Development
Goal.
goals. Correct.
So where different kind of industry report different kind of the parameter according to the guidelines.
Correct.
There are so many parameters where natural resources consumption is the key factor.
Okay.
Like your electricity, water consumption, and there are carbon footprint, how much CO2 emissions you are doing. Right now, that has been done based on the data which is organizations are providing.
Correct.
And there is no authenticity or much authenticity in that data. So there are solutions around it, like you can use the IoT devices and the blockchain technology to capture that entire data for the year. And then it is a publicly available data because the blockchain is recording that data.
Okay.
And then now it becomes the more transparent data reported from the ESG perspective.
Okay.
That is one of the use case, and that use case become very industry agnostic. It can be into the automotive industry, clothing industry. Water consumption is super high in clothing industry. FMCG packed food product, liquor. Liquor is also consuming a lot of water.
Correct.
So now it becomes a industry agnostic use case basically.
Right.
So that's one of the very important use case. Second use case is the health record and the health data right now.
Right.
See, you and me, both of us are sitting here.
Correct.
You are like around 28, 29. I'm turning 44 this year. When I was 8, 9, 10 years old, and if I had any injury or any other issue with my health,
Correct.
that data does not exist anywhere.
Absolutely.
We are trying to build the kind of UPI of healthcare,
Okay.
basically, where if data is recorded in that particular application, I can share that historical data at any point of time with anyone for a limited period.
Okay.
Like you share your location on Google for
Right.
1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4
Absolutely.
hours. After that, because that is something which is very private and confidential, basically. So in the same way, you can share your information with the doctor, with the hospital. They can check it at that moment, and then after an hour or so, it will be vanished from there.
Okay.
So it will not be recorded anywhere with the doctor until and unless he writes somewhere, basically.
Okay.
So
And
that is second use case. Then nowadays counterfeiting. Not nowadays. It is for a very long time. Counterfeiting is a big problem, and there is
absolutely.
no way to solve that problem. And the world market is $4.5 trillion in different industries.
Correct.
There is a report back I read in 2022, which has been published by FICCI,
Okay.
FICCI Cascade. In India, for 5 industry, the total counterfeit market size, according to the data points they have, is 2.6 lakh crore in 5 industry.
Okay.
Mobile, FMCG packed food product, liquor and tobacco.
Okay.
Look at the number. Who is losing what? Organizations are losing the additional revenue.
Absolutely.
Individuals are paying for the original product and getting counterfeit.
Right.
And the third, 18% GST, and the more GST and the VAT on liquor and tobacco,
Correct.
government is losing.
Absolutely.
That it means that the entire ecosystem is losing.
Absolutely. Correct.
And when it comes to the product which are consumed by the individuals, then it's a big problem.
Correct.
There are a small child who are having packed milk, so packed food product comes for a child, and it is a counterfeit which can impact their health.
Absolutely.
It's a big problem.
It's a very big problem.
Pharma industry is having in India. I'm talking about around $15 billion market size for the counterfeit medicines.
$15 billion.
Yes, look at the number. If we'll talk about the worldwide, it is around more than $400 billion. And total, all across the industry, the data pointers, whatever are available, the total market size is more than the Indian economy, which is $4.5 trillion.
It's a very big, very, very big number.
Exactly. Let's come to the very specific use case. That is called, we call it IS, industry specific.
Okay.
EV is getting hot.
Absolutely.
Right. But in EV, there is one component which is the backbone of EV, battery.
Battery, lithium.
Lithium. Right now, lithium, but there are more research going on to have the alternative of the lithium battery.
Correct.
Look at the resources which are there for the lithium mining. Very concentrated in some countries and controlled by some countries.
Absolutely.
And the mining itself takes 7 to 10 years time. And demand is getting hurt every day.
Correct.
What is the solution for that? Recycling.
Right.
But there is no way that you can identify how much material has been recycled and used by the battery manufacturer to manufacture the battery.
Correct.
And what percentage is for the new mining material. See, we are talking about the sustainability here.
Right.
If that number can be identified, then that is the best way.
Correct.
And it has to be very transparent, right? What is the percentage of the new mined material used in the battery manufacturing? Right. And then it become more sustainable. Otherwise, down the line in 5 years or 6 years, EV will not be sustainable.
Correct.
If recycled material will not used, because you have very limited resources for the lithium.
Correct. Correct.
So that is again very interesting use case around it, basically. And all the use cases are there which require a public information.
Right.
One more interesting use case I'll tell you. I think 2 weeks back, RBI governor has given a statement about the unified lending
Unified lending
platform. That platform, if they want to, we build it. One side we have already built it back like to 2023.
Okay.
So for the consumer side, it is ready. For bank side, we need to do the POC.
Okay.
This use case is using the blockchain technology plus artificial intelligence.
Okay.
One side, consumer. So right now, if you want to take a loan, to how many banks you can go?
3, 4,
3, 4, 5.
5
Right.
maximum, yes.
So, and there are how many banks there in India?
Around 100,
150 plus.
150 plus.
And the number is, if we include the NBFC and other, the number goes around more than, I think around 300 to 400. That is number I do not remember exactly. If another side, all the banks can bring, then how much? What is the possibility for a consumer?
A lot. I can do a very well informed decision.
Yes.
I can make an informed decision.
So it's a very simple solution, right? The one side consumer comes in, he do complete all KYCs, goes to the blockchain,
Right.
okay, provide all the relevant information which bank is collecting. There is a set of the documents which banks are collecting.
Correct.
He raises his query. The query will go directly to all the banks.
Right.
Because there is an AI engine around it, which will, collect the data according to the bank, whatever setup they have done. Machine learning, basically AI and machine learning, give back the results to the individual.
Okay.
Okay, so the bank X, this is the amount they can offer you, and this is the interest rate. Now you have the complete comparative analysis.
Right.
As an individual, now you have all the data pointers to make a firm decision.
Right.
As soon as you click on the one bank, the information will go to the other banks also. Okay, he has selected with this bank and going with that.
Correct.
And there is a possibility for renegotiation also with the bank. So if I want to renegotiate with the 5 bank, I can push a renegotiation with them.
Absolutely.
As soon as bank accept it, that will be the automatically accepted by the bank at the back end.
Correct.
No manual intervention required.
Right.
There will be a smart contract generated
Okay.
between the bank and the individual. Right now there is a bunch of paper which has to be signed, but it will not require to be there.
Right. Correct.
So it will be a digitally signed smart contract which will execute and initiated by bank but signed by the individual, and then it will go to the bank and bank will sign it again.
Correct.
Now your entire loan dispersal, then the repayment schedule, everything will be monitored from there.
Okay.
And then bank do not need any branch, consumer do not visit to any branch, and then this is something you can easily do, like sitting by using your mobile phone or your computer or anything.
Absolutely.
And within half an hour, the amount will be disbursed to your account.
Correct. But like from a layman's perspective, I want to understand how blockchain is making this process easy and why the traditional technologies that we are using is not able to achieve what we are trying to achieve through blockchain.
See, the blockchain technology brings the immutability into the system. That is first thing. So right now, any existing technology is controlled by whom? Controlled by the individual banks.
Right.
And every bank is having a very different softwares, basically.
Right.
So not completely integrated. No, then RBI is also involved in certain things, right?
Correct.
When it comes to the public blockchain, it is a common platform for every bank.
Right.
See, smart contract is the agreement they are writing individually, and they can build it as a firm, the properly designed smart contract.
Right.
And now it is available publicly, so anybody can adopt it, and it can be written out there.
Right.
If they want to keep the confidentiality for certain, the parameters out there, it is also possible.
Okay.
The best part is Every agreement has to be signed by two parties, but in the physical presence.
Right.
Here, it will be digitally signed and in the fraction of seconds.
Correct.
One digital signature, you do not need to sign it like 100 pages of the agreement.
Right.
One signature, all terms and conditions are accepted.
Okay.
See, end of the day, what is the purpose of anything or everything? The purpose we are talking here is the sustainability.
Right.
And we are making it more sustainable.
The way you explained how the loan system would work using blockchain, one thing that comes to my mind is you mentioned that counterfeiting can also be countered through this. Can you give a little more light on that?
Okay, so let me ask a question. You go to the market.
Correct.
You buy something.
Right.
Is there any way you can identify that the product is genuine or counterfeit?
Not necessarily, right? All I can do is just read the labels, read the packaging. That is the
Counterfeiter
maximum.
can do the same, right?
Absolutely. And that's why we are facing so many counterfeiting incidents.
Exactly. So the simple solution is QR code.
Right.
And I think more than half of the population of India is having a smartphone right now.
Correct.
You just need to scan that QR code, and it will show you the entire supply chain.
Okay.
From the manufacturing of that product, then to the dealer and distribution, and to the retailer where it is from where you are buying.
Okay.
The second validity will come from the blockchain. The QR code is immuted on that on the blockchain.
Okay.
And the same QR code cannot be repeated.
Okay.
It has to be generated by the manufacturer, and then it will become immutable immediately on the blockchain.
Okay.
Now look at this. If there is a toothpaste,
Correct.
there are so many billions,
Right.
and every single packaging will have a unique QR code.
Correct.
If it is packed in the box, then box will have the parent QR code.
Okay.
Now your 100 QR code is linked to the parent QR code.
Correct.
Then it will be very difficult for counterfeiter to maintain such kind of flow.
Okay. So what I understand is if we are able to generate this particular QR code that you are talking about, we are able to counter the problem.
Not only problem. The problem is very much different. Problem is, as an individual, I cannot identify.
Right.
If that power is with me, that scan of the QR code with my mobile camera only can give me the entire information, then the problem is solved.
But I have one more question with respect to this. So let's say, for example, the process that you mentioned is being followed, but the counterfeiting company or the person who's doing the counterfeiting would they not be able to generate the same QR code or maybe print the same QR code on their packaging?
That's what I said. So now validation is come from the two perspective. So this will open on a particular web page. So one web page will be owned by the organization, and second will be owned by the blockchain. Now the validity comes from the two perspective, from the organizational centralized system and the decentralized system, which is the blockchain technology.
Okay.
So now that will, if I have a domain called, say, www.jumbochain.org.
Correct.
Everybody knows, and it can show the warning and everything. And if there is any mismatch in that, it will give the alert also. Okay. Now this is my domain, and there the page is going to open.
Right.
And then there is a blockchain page where the immutable hash for that QR code in a readable language is shown.
Correct.
Now it will become the easily identifiable information. The second is the location, basically, from buying, because I'm showing this entire supply chain.
Correct.
So it has been invoiced to that particular retailer. Then it will be visible there also. And anything which is invoiced is traceable through the GST portals as well.
Okay.
So many things are there, basically. Even the same solution, you can link with the GST to do the complete traceability, and you can improve in the theft of GST also by the way. The people do, right?
Correct.
There are so many news around it, like in last couple of months.
Correct.
So it's not a value creator for an individual as well. It is value creator for the organization, for the government as well.
Okay, I want to go a little deeper on this particular counterfeiting part because it's very interesting to me. So let's take this example. So we have two bottles.
Right.
This is a genuine bottle, and this is a counterfeit water bottle.
Right.
Now the original manufacturer has put a QR code over on this.
Right.
But the company who's creating this particular water bottle copies the label of this water bottle.
But QR code cannot be copied until and unless it is visible in the market.
Yes, correct.
That's one thing. Second, every product, any manufacturer who is making, there is a cycle for them.
Right.
The consumption cycle of their material.
Right. Oh, yes, I understood now. Correct. So by the time this counterfeiting company copies the QR code, it has already been consumed.
The same QR code, as soon as it will be sold, will be reported back to the organization.
Correct. Now I got it.
And it will go away from the blockchain as well.
Wonderful.
Sold.
Yes. Now it's very easy for me to understand how it's going to work. Perfect. So I am sure there are a lot of audience who do not understand the basics of blockchain, like what actually blockchain is. So from your perspective, I want the audience to know what exactly is blockchain. So let's say, for example, there's a person who's watching this video, and that person do not have any background of science or engineering, but is working in certain sector where there is a possibility of them using blockchain in future. So how would you explain blockchain?
Okay. So this is something very interesting, and it took plenty of time for me to, realize that the 99% of the world do not understand technology much,
Yes.
and they do not believe in the underlying technology that they should know in deep or not. But blockchain, specifically the public blockchain, I want to explain it in a very different way, because see, end of the day, until and unless an individual will not understand it in a layman language,
Correct.
मतलब मेरा कहना तो ये है कि रिक्शा वाले को भी समझ में आनी चाहिए, ऐसे इस तरीके से एक्सप्लेन करना होना चाहिए. एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ. हम सभी के पास स्मार्टफोन है.
करेक्ट.
हम कहीं ना कहीं पिक्चर लेते हैं. ठीक है, हम कहीं घूमने गए, पिक्चर ले ली. ठीक है, फैमिली के साथ कोई गैदरिंग है, उसमें पिक्चर ले ली. अब हमने वो अपने मोबाइल फोन में रख ली. ठीक है, रखी हुई है. somehow we lost that mobile phone.
Okay.
What is going to happen with the picture? क्या होने वाला है? पिक्चर हो गया, राइट? आज की डेट में सबसे सिंपल तरीका क्या है?
डेटा अपलोड कर दो उसको गूगल
नहीं, देयर इज अनदर वे आल्सो.
व्हिच वन?
यार, आपके अपनी फैमिली के साथ कम से कम 10 व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप होंगे.
राइट.
व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप क्या है? डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड सिस्टम. ग्रुप is the decentralized system. Right. There are means trusted people who are the part of that network.
Right.
आपने जाके वहां पे डाल दी. ठीक है. अगर आपका फोन भी खो गया, then you can retrieve that information back from that family group, trusted network group.
Correct.
ठीक है. मतलब आपका फैमिली का ट्रस्टेड नेटवर्क है, उसमें आपने डाल दी. फोन खो गया तो वहां से आप किसी को भी बोल दोगे, वो वापस से आपको जो कहना वो पिक्चर भेज देगा.
बिल्कुल.
दिस इज कॉल्ड ब्लॉकचेन.
ओके.
ब्लॉकचेन क्या है? ब्लॉकचेन में कंप्यूटर्स लगे हुए हैं, ट्रस्टेड नेटवर्क है जिसके ऊपर डेटा जाके स्टोर होता है.
ओके.
ठीक है. बट डेटा स्टोरेज होने का जो तरीका है वो अलग है. यहाँ तो आपने एज ए इंडिविजुअल भेज दी और वो वापस होगी. अगर इसमें किसी ने एडिट करके वापस भेज दी तो वो एक चैलेंज है.
करेक्ट.
ब्लॉकचेन में वो भी पॉसिबल नहीं है. सो द डेटा हैज टू बी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड थ्रू स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट.
ओके.
तो स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट से के थ्रू जाके डेटा डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो गया नेटवर्क में. अब जब भी कहीं पे भी कोई भी करप्शन होता है या करप्ट होता है कोई भी, तो बाकी लोग जो पार्टिसिपेंट हैं उसको वापस से ओरिजिनल इंफॉर्मेशन प्रोवाइड कर देते हैं विदाउट एनी लॉस ऑफ द इंफॉर्मेशन.
ओके. सो बेसिकली लेट्स अगेन टेक अ वेरी लेमन एग्जांपल. लेट्स से मैंने एक फोटो क्लिक करी है और उसको मैंने ड्राइव पे अपलोड करा है. नाउ this is happening in the traditional system.
Right.
But through blockchain, that data, that particular picture is being stored on different
Exactly. अलग-अलग जगह पे वो स्टोर हो रही है.
एंड अगर कहीं एक जगह पे करप्ट होती है तो बाकी जगह से मेरे को रिट्रीव हो जाएगा.
बिल्कुल.
एंड हु आर द पीपल हु आर ओनिंग दीज डिफरेंट systems?
Those can be individual, those can be enterprises, they can run different validator nodes. Validator nodes is the concept in
Okay.
blockchain.
How would you define that?
Validator nodes मतलब अब इसको लेमन की भाषा में थोड़ा सा मुश्किल होगा, बट क्या होता है ब्लॉकचेन में कि जैसे आपके पास 100 लोगों का नेटवर्क बना हुआ है, 100 में से जब ट्रांजेक्शन इनिशिएट होता है तो बहुत सारे ट्रांजेक्शन अलग अलग जगह से इनिशिएट होते हैं और वो जाते हैं एक ब्लॉक के अंदर।
ओके।
ठीक है, उस ब्लॉक को उस ट्रस्टेड नेटवर्क में से जो जिसका जो भी नंबर है 15-20 वो लोग आते हैं, वो आपस में वोटिंग करके एक को लीडर सेलेक्ट करेंगे। अलग अलग मैकेनिज्म है उसके भी, और वो लीडर उस ब्लॉक को माइन करेगा, और माइन करके साइन करेगा, और बाकी जो बचे हुए हैं वो जो 15 लोग हैं उसका पार्ट वो भी साइन करेंगे, एंड देन इट विल बी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड टू रिमेनिंग। तो मतलब 85 और हैं तो उन 85 को भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होगी इंफॉर्मेशन। ठीक है, अब नया ब्लॉक आता है, ऐसे ही नए ब्लॉक में दूसरे अनदर 15 विल कम एंड प्ले, एंड देन दे विल ब्लॉक इट एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूट इट अगेन। तो नाउ एक तो हो गया आपका ट्रांजेक्शन, और ट्रांजेक्शन हो गया एक ब्लॉक के अंदर, और वहां से उसके जनरेट होते हैं इम्यूटेबल हैशेस। ब्लॉक के अलग होते हैं, ट्रांजेक्शन के अलग होते हैं, दोज एवरीथिंग इज इंटरलिंक्ड।
Okay. And you mentioned about like people choosing a leader, and are these
That is
things
automatically done by the
automatically? Yeah, so because otherwise, so it would be a very
so that is through
slow
the
process.
consensus. There is a mechanism in blockchain which is called consensus.
Okay.
So वो consensus के through that process happen.
Okay. So basically, again, take an example, because I take a lot of examples for me to. It takes a lot of examples for me to understand in a very deep manner.
And बिल्कुल वो it takes time. This is a very complex technology.
Exactly. So let's say, for example, there are like 5 people, and we are part of this chain, and let's say they choose me as the leader.
No, so it doesn't work in that way.
Okay.
So consensus will run, और whatever parameters are there उनके basis पे pool के अंदर से they will select 15-20 to validate a particular block.
Okay.
तो जब वो 15 आ जाएंगे that will become the priority pool.
Okay.
अब प्रायोरिटी पूल क्या करेगा कि प्रायोरिटी पूल में अगर 15 लोग हैं तो उन 15 लोग में वो आपस में एक लीडर सेलेक्ट करते हैं थ्रू देयर वोटिंग।
How do they do that?
That's automated system. So it is written in a code.
Okay.
वो कोड के बेसिस पे वहां पे एक लीडर सेलेक्ट हो जाता है, who will mine the
Okay.
block. तो दिस इज द सिंपल वे टू एक्सप्लेन। इससे ज्यादा सिंपल वे में बड़ा मुश्किल है करना।
Okay. So with this, I am recalling an incident which happened with Ethereum. I don't know, maybe 6 months or 1 year back, when Ethereum का जो actual database है, that got hacked, and a lot of people lost a lot of money.
नॉट इन दैट वे। इथीरियम का नेटवर्क नहीं है, वो वॉलेट से अभी द रीसेंट एग्जांपल इज द वजीरेक्स, राइट? इट इज अ वॉलेट हैक।
Okay.
And hacking is very much there when it comes to the use case which is crypto basically. तो crypto is money basically. तो हैकिंग हमेशा वॉलेट लेवल पे होती है। नेटवर्क लेवल पे देयर आर सर्टेन अटैक्स व्हिच विल कॉल नेटवर्क अटैक इज वन ऑफ देम। सिबिल अटैक मतलब इफ somebody has stole the identity of a particular validator. So these kind of attacks happens on the network, but in recent time I have not heard anything like on any blockchain.
Okay.
That kind of attack. Wallets attacks are happening. That is true. And there has to be a policy around it which can be make it more secure. And that people are trying to make secure wallets basically. MetaMask is one of the very secure wallet even with the single signing.
Okay. So basically, my understanding was that blockchain is something which is similar to attack proof, or
It is a attack proof.
it is attack proof.
Attack proof. The only thing, there are certain technical parameters, technical coding, which is evolving over a period of time. Like Bitcoin is unhackable.
Okay.
Because the kind of algorithm and mining which are written out there, it's a mathematical problem which has to be solved.
Okay.
So उस नेटवर्क को अटैक करना इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट।
Okay.
लेट्स कम टू द अदर नेटवर्क जैसे इथेरियम का जो प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक, दे हैव मूव टू प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक,
Okay.
या बिनेंस है, सोलाना है, Everybody either using proof of stake or proof of authority, or जहाँ पे आपका staking is one parameter.
Okay.
And वहाँ पे एक possibility बनती है. That's why they have kept like very high cost staking की जो है वो बहुत बड़ी है. But even in that case, if someone wants to do the 51% attack,
Okay.
they can run multiple validators, give more and more stake to the validators, and then at a certain point of time, when all individuals, the counterfeiters validator are in the priority pool, they can attack the
Okay.
network.
So basically, they are trying to replicate the actual validator, and uske through they are attacking.
They can attack.
Okay.
But in our case, we have changed that under staking is a very 30% weightage part only.
Okay.
And there are few real-time parameters.
Okay.
Whenever real-time parameters values goes high, the weightage goes down.
Okay. So उस case में if somebody is trying to replicate, that possibility is
That
not
possibility will not be there. Until and unless entire network is used, they cannot participate in the process.
Correct. And with respect to blockchain only, there's one more term which is very trending and very hot in on the internet, which is Web 3.0.
Okay.
So before we jump on to Web 3.0, I want you to tell us about what Web 2.0 was, what Web 3.0 is, and what is the actual difference.
So Web 3.0, Web 2.0, you know, the internet and browsing of internet, and then application on the top of that, mobile applications and other application, which is called Web 2, basically, where you can you know, by using your emails and other things, log in into the different system, create your replicate, whatever you want to do, you can do. In Web3, it is a wallet-based system, basically. Now, a single wallet can, you know, store a lot of information about individual.
Okay.
And make it more secure. When it comes to the Web3, so it's not only the blockchain, basically. So it is a combination of blockchain, metaverse, NFTs, digital twins. So there are so many things, and wallet-based system, basically.
Okay.
So let me give you an example. If you want to log in into different applications, then you need different IDs, basically.
Correct.
But now in Web3, it will be a single wallet base. Basically, you can connect like MetaMask in different application and single wallet. You can link to the different applications, basically.
Can you give a little more like example based thing? Like for example, I am using Instagram, I'm using Facebook, I'm using, let's say, WhatsApp, and all of these
But
things.
earlier it was very simple. Like earlier it was like you have to do the individual login.
Correct.
Single sign-on is not there, right?
Right.
Now you can do the single sign-on in different application by using wallet.
Okay. So what you said makes means that we are already transitioning into Web 3.0.
Oh, okay. So there are two parts basically. So one is the individual adoption. That is happening slowly.
Okay.
Second is the enterprise. So enterprise do not want to maintain wallet and all because there are no policy around it and there is a gray area around it. So for that, there is a term called Web 2.5.
Okay.
Not 3 basically. So where blockchain software as a service can be provided to the enterprises.
Okay.
So blockchain is their underlying technology. They can log in into the system by using the same method which was into Web 2, like email ID or anything. And then they can make it single sign-on basically.
Okay.
Individual, yes, they are using certain applications like crypto exchanges or any other like use cases which we are talking now. So those kind of use cases, they can have the wallet and they can enter into the multiple application by using that wallet.
Okay. And say let's imagine that the world has already adopted Web 3.0 completely. Let's imagine that this is a scenario from the future. How would the internet look like to that person, like in those times?
It will be going to remain same. There will be no difference apart from the security, immutability of the data.
Okay.
That's one thing. Second important aspect which we need to understand, that where blockchain or the related technology has to be adopted. It's not necessary that a blockchain has to be adopted in all across. So let me take an example. If I am a manufacturing company, then I have my own system, centralized system, which store the information related to the processes,
Correct.
like my different department, accounts, finance, then marketing, then other, right? But do you really think that the blockchain is required in all the functions?
Not sure.
Not required.
Okay.
Blockchain is technology required where you need to bring immutability into the data, transparency into the data, and for the public information.
Okay.
There you use blockchain, make it transparent. For your internal processes, purposes, you need to have your centralized system. And there is another term called private blockchains also, where these private blockchains are required. If you are into the research and there are multiple parties involved,
Right.
to bring that data immutability and the transparency between multiple parties and to share that data with those only, you can have the private network.
Okay, so basically it would maintain the security of the whole
Security and
data.
the confidentiality of the data.
Of the data, correct. And this is my knowledge coming from the social media and the internet that I see. I see a lot of posts where they compare Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 with respect to the applications that we are using. So, for example, let's say on the left hand side we have Web 2.0, on the right we have Web 3.0, and on the left we see PayPal, and on the right we see another application. On the left we see Instagram, on the right we see another application. So what is that all about? Like for me, when I saw that post, it looked like that we would transition from the current platforms to a completely different platform set altogether.
Exactly. So we need to understand from a very different perspective. Identity attack on socials is very common.
Correct.
That is a problem which can be solved by Web3 based application.
Okay.
Let me give you the example, real life example. LinkedIn is a professional social media.
Correct.
If I write on LinkedIn that I am the president of United States, I can write it.
Absolutely.
But that is not the right information, right?
Correct.
And social media, that platform is meant for the professional.
Correct.
Right? What is the solution around it? How we can solve this problem?
There needs to be a mechanism that checks whether the information is correct.
Exactly. So that is again the blockchain comes into the play.
But
if I write it, say I said like I worked with IBM for 9 years.
Right.
So that has to be validated information, right?
Right.
If I'm writing it there, and it has the capability to validate it by the organization immediately.
Right.
And the wallet-based application integrated in LinkedIn can help immediately.
Correct.
You update the information here that I started working with IBM. IBM is also using LinkedIn for their socials. They can just come and validate. Simple.
Right. But in that scenario, do we actually need a different set of platforms altogether, or can
Not
we?
necessarily. Not necessarily. We see there are ways to integrate the things, new things which are coming, new technologies which are coming into the
Right.
market, right? So you can integrate, like Instagram can integrate blockchain technology for the identity verification. I have a private key, I have a wallet private key where I can validate that this is me only,
Correct.
right?
Right.
Now, if you are trying to create my identity, then you will have a different wallet and different private key.
Correct.
Then it will be a problem.
The way that you're explaining it looks very simple to execute.
Exactly.
But then what is the reason why the platforms are not implementing the same for a very long period of time? Because I understand blockchain has been a technology which is in the market for a very long time.
Yeah.
The researches are still going on,
Yes.
but I think we do have a stable, some stability in the blockchain where we can start implementing them.
Okay, let me ask a question. What is the value for the company who owns Instagram or Facebook,
It's $1 billion company.
the value for them.
Acha, value for them.
Value for them is the data.
Correct.
And based on that data, they play.
Correct.
Whenever they are going to use the distributed technology, the control over data will go away.
Right. And that's...
See, look at this. If you Googled something today, on the next moment, if you are opening of any of your social media,
I'll
then
get
you'll find
ads.
the related ads.
Right. Right. And that is one of the major
Exactly.
revenue source for them.
Yeah.
So in that manner, they would not be able to get the data, and hence the targeted ads
Because
would
they have
not
already
work.
data, and if they integrate the blockchain technology, so they have the comparative data now. Okay,
Right.
as an individual, if I have my social on say Instagram, and tomorrow it comes to a blockchain-based solution integrated, so I transfer that. But there is a now they have the data set basically available. with them.
Right.
So that's why the new technology or new applications are coming into the play.
Okay, so let's say the new applications are already in the picture and they do not have the access to the data. But the targeted ads are one of the biggest revenue source for all these platforms. In that scenario, either they would be losing the
No,
revenue.
individual identity will not be there, but
Okay.
related searches can still. So because they are the AI algorithms which are there to do that, they do not know it is Sachin, right?
Correct.
But they know that Sachin is looking for something.
Okay. Perfect. So
But it will be the identity will be based on the wallet only. So identity will not be Sachin basically. As an individual, gender and other things will go away because whatever information I'm providing, that is the confidential and the zero knowledge basically.
correct.
But they know that this particular individual is looking for that is.
Right.
So now there are certain data which will be very confidential and owned and controlled by individual only.
Correct. And like again, so moving ahead, what do you feel is the timeline for the complete implementation of blockchain and all these measures in the near future, or would it be a very far-fetched thing?
It completely depends. So things are moving in that direction. So end of the day, it's individual and law of lands policies around it, which require out to be there. Blockchain as technology adoption is going to be big over a period of time. I say it will take another 10 years. Minimum is 5. But look at this. Why? That is a bigger question.
Correct.
Transparency into the system is the main key factor.
Right.
Like in India, you heard a lot more subsidy is distributing to the different farmers, to individuals, Ayushman Bharat,
Correct.
and then there are so many things basically which are there and which has to be very transparent system.
Correct.
There is a system created for that to flow. First thing, it takes its own time to reach that particular thing to the beneficiary. Second, there are multiple parties involved where the things are happening in a very different way. I do not want to say that particular word, but yes.
Right.
So the people who should get benefit are not getting the benefit.
Right.
So these are the possibility from the government perspective.
Okay.
And that adoption is going to be happen. So there has been a paper which has been released by the government back in 2022 about the blockchain technology adoption by the government of India. Same is happening in the states also. There are so many RFQs around it where blockchain software as a service, the different government organizations are looking. Execution of projects which government do is another example basically. Those has to be adopted. Like recent example, there was a roof collapsed at T3.
Yeah.
Sorry, T1. So now there is an inquiry going. But if the execution has been done into a transparent manner, where all the parties involved are the part of that smart contract, is very easily identifying who was the last man to do the job.
Okay.
So your 6 month time goes away to say.
So the investigation part becomes very easy.
Very easy.
Correct.
So these are the possible, but it takes time. You know, when you try to bring transparency into the system, it's not very easy. So that's why the adoption is taking time. Let me come to the manufacturing and other thing. They feel insecure about it because the policies are not there, wallet maintenance, who is going to do that? So now, like we are coming into the market as blockchain software as a service that we will do. Like you have the same feeling you have with your centralized system.
Okay. But the backend would be managed by
Managed by us. So these things will take time, but adoption is starting. So I attended one event recently by the World Auto Forum. And I have seen the multiple industry leaders talking about the adoption of the technology into that system. Insurance claim in automotive, or the track and traceability of the different component which are the part of the automotive, basically. So these are the things where discussion is already started in that direction.
Okay. So these are like places where we would not have thought the blockchain would be able to help in that, but now the
bigger problem was there actually.
Right.
Bigger problem was there was a delay in transaction for few, sometimes from few seconds to few minutes. Congestion in the network, the kind of transactional volume which will be coming in will not be catered. TPS is very slow for the blockchain. So these were the technology. Cost was very high.
Yes.
So these were the technical challenges or the fundamental challenges for the adoption of the technology, basically.
Correct.
Like in our case, TPS block finality time, we see it, is less than 300 milliseconds. Means your transaction is getting processed almost real time.
Okay, so just for the audience who do not understand what TPS is, TPS is
Transactions per
second.
second.
And I remember when I used to like follow a lot of cryptocurrency news, the TPS for Ethereum was very less compared to the TPS for Bitcoin. So it's similar to that.
No. Bitcoin TPS is very low.
Okay.
Super low. Ethereum is a little bit higher.
Okay.
Now Binance was better. Now Solana, and there are other blockchains also. They are talking about the 65,000 TPS and all.
Okay.
In our case, it can be unlimited.
Okay.
So we just need to keep adding the validators into the network to increase our throughput.
Okay, and so basically, let's say if Ethereum is like one transaction is Ethereum is taking, let's say, 15 seconds.
No, it's higher actually.
It's higher. Can you give a little more info on that?
So I think it is a few minutes
In Ethereum.
in Ethereum.
So if somebody
in Solana, it is less, few seconds.
Okay, and in Bitcoin, it is roughly around.
Bitcoin is algorithm based basically. So there are 95% Bitcoin is already mined.
Mined, correct.
Okay, and then if it is a transfer, then it will take some time in validation.
Okay. And since we're talking about Bitcoin, I also have a little like some small doubts on Bitcoin. So I understand that the number of Bitcoins that can be mined is fixed, and there cannot be more Bitcoins mined. But how do we fix that, or how it happened? Because
it has been fixed in initially itself. The day
when the algorithm was being written.
Yes.
Okay. So, like, if somebody tries to mine more than that, it would not be possible.
It's not possible right now. That is the fixed number. It is going to be. Nobody controls that. That is the say, basically. But there is a possibility to change or add or subtract the number, basically.
Okay.
But right now is 21 million. And let's see how the future goes. But to reach that number is again going to take another 100 years or so.
Right.
Because now 94% is mined. To mine a new Bitcoin, now the algorithms are very complex.
Right. So the algorithms that we are talking about, they process different mathematical challenges and
Yes, so that has to be mathematical challenges, and that has to be solved by the miners who are there in the network.
correct. Okay. Perfect. So, like before we started this podcast, we were talking about different government initiations that has been happening, and you have been part of different government institutions where your expertise were taken by the government to introduce certain new prospects into the governance. You know, tell us about a little more on that.
So, like, there are they initiated like paper ONDC is working there. As far as I have information, there are certain government institution IITs has been given mandate to build a blockchain for India. There is a paper around it back in 2022 released. So those are the initiatives is already taken, and it is a robust technology for the governance perspective.
Okay. Give me a few use cases where we can actually expect the government to.
I just given one is the unified lending
Correct.
platform basically.
Correct. Correct.
If it has to be a unified lending platform, then it has to have the blockchain as technology integrated with it to reduce the entire cost to the bank and give the more possibility for consumer as well.
Correct.
So it has to be a win-win situation for both the parties. Let me give an example. If I want to do a foreclose for any of my loan,
Okay.
then I have to visit a branch.
Correct.
Then I have to sign multiple papers,
Right.
make the payment, and then there will be a foreclosure happening.
Right.
If I'm using the blockchain as technology, and if foreclosure is already written out there in my agreement, if I select for the foreclosure, the smart contract will execute, give the relevant information, and as soon as I submit or I deposit the money, there will be a confirmation from the bank, and then automatically that smart contract will close.
Right.
Now, look at this. The few days work has been reduced to few minutes.
Correct.
So that is one of the very important use case basically.
Right.
And it it is reducing the customer acquisition cost to the bank, as well as reducing the infrastructure cost which is
Correct.
required for the bank.
Hmm.
Like physical location offices, you put
Right.
people out there, you have property out there, then it becomes very complex, right?
Right.
Costly affair. Let me give another use case for the government itself. The land records,
Right.
ownership of the land record. And there are state government like Kolkata, New Town. Those properties are converted in the blockchain-based land record, basically.
Okay.
Another very real-time example, let me give it to you. So there are multiple builders around it,
Right.
and they start a project which is like worth few crores,
Okay.
or multiple of 100 crores, basically. As an individual, my capacity is say 1 lakh rupees. I want to invest in that project.
Correct.
But is there any possibility today?
No.
Until and unless it is a listed company, basically. So
Right.
only I can buy share where I'm going to get dividend,
Right.
not as a partner.
Right.
Look at this. If we do the fractionalization of those, that is a recent, like for past 1 year, it is getting hot and a trillions-dollar market. That is called the tokenization of real world asset.
Okay.
If I'm building say society where I'm building say 1,000 flats, and then there is a total area around it, and then the building construction and everything. So there is a total cost. Total cost to construct that, plus I am selling it. So there is a selling price also,
Correct.
which keep growing over a period of time.
Right.
If I do the equal tokenization or whatever tokenization of that asset, so say that project is worth 500 crore rupees, and I created 500 crore tokens. So
Correct.
every token is equivalent to 1 rupee.
Okay. Correct.
Now, as an individual, I have 100,000 rupees.
Right.
I can buy 100,000 tokens,
Tokens, correct.
and I can sell it off later on.
Right.
So I can get more, because it will be tradable now.
Right,
So
right,
it will
right.
keep gaining the value.
Right.
So now
Correct.
my 100,000 rupees which were lying in the bank account is making money for me.
Right. So basically, I do not have to purchase the whole flat or basically number of flats.
Exactly.
I can purchase a section of that flat in the form of tokens.
Exactly.
Right.
And then the token can be finalized or sell it off or bought by the individual who is buying the complete flat.
Correct. And that's how you can like forward the
So
ownership
suppose
also.
that area is 2,000 square feet and one token equivalent to the 1 square feet area, say, for
हाँ,
example.
correct. ठीक है,
So
done.
I need 2,000 tokens
Right.
and I can buy it on whatever price is available.
Correct.
Now I have that much of ownership.
Oh, so this could be a very good way in investing in that particular sector where I do not want to purchase the whole.
Real world asset, intellectual properties.
Hmm.
See, right now, if I have 3 patents, there is no way to monetize it fractionally.
Right.
But blockchain is giving that flexibility,
Right. Basically, shared ownership.
shared ownership.
Right. So coming to like since we're talking about shared ownership, before moving ahead on to NFTs, which is there on my mind, I want to understand. A few years back, government proposed this cryptocurrency for India, Bharat cryptocurrency,
No, that is CBDC basically.
CBD.
CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency.
Okay.
So CBDC, I think almost not more than 50% countries in the world,
Okay.
they have done the CBDC part.
Okay.
I am not aware in detail which technology has been used to CBDC
Okay.
in India.
Okay.
But outside world, it is a blockchain based. So it's a counter of crypto basically.
Okay.
Counter to
How different it is from crypto? Like let's take an example from
no again.
any other country.
Yeah, so it is controlled by the centralized bank, like RBI in India.
Right. So basically, crypto is not controlled by any central institution, but here it would be controlled.
Yes.
But in that scenario, don't you think it doesn't solve the purpose of the control of the central institution on the money?
See, there are multiple arguments around it, and personally, I have my own opinion. Crypto is fine, decentralized, but it has to be monitored. See,
Correct.
look at this. We are India, and we have surrounded countries also,
Right.
where we can have good relation, bad relations.
Absolutely.
Any transaction which can happen in crypto and create a situation for me as a country,
Right.
which can create trouble to my residents or our people, is a trouble to us.
Correct.
So we have to think from that perspective also. That's why the control is required, right? That's why the government exists in the world. So individual is having their own perspective around it. I have my own. So if it comes to the security of the people, then it has to be controlled.
Absolutely.
It cannot be misutilized. See, every good thing is having bad impact also. It's not necessary that if you like, let me give an example. Eating almonds is good,
Correct.
but in limit,
Absolutely.
right? In the same way, anything, anything which can create problem if it is consumed more,
Right. It's going to create a big problem.
it can create a
And
big
the usage is, if it's not monitored,
it is not
then
monitored.
definitely it can create a huge ruckus.
The individual have their own perspective. Data distribution is good. Decentralized data distribution where transparency and immutability can bring, that comes from the blockchain technology. But when it comes to the crypto or the cryptocurrency, then the monitoring, because that is the financial instrument now, and any financial instrument require monitoring.
So, like say for example, let's say there are certain use cases of cryptocurrency which we both understand, but like in a normal perspective, people do use it for an investment purpose also.
Right.
And for that investment purpose, let's take an example of Bitcoin only. So let's say somebody has purchased n number of satoshis, which is the like equivalent to paisa of rupees. So in that scenario, the value get increased or decreased because of the property that it is decentralized. But in that scenario, if we talk about the centralized unit which the government has proposed, would we be able to still use it for investment purposes or not?
I don't think so.
Hmm.
That cannot be. See, I'll tell you.
Hmm.
Forget about Bitcoin for some time,
Okay.
because my perspective is entirely different about it. So Bitcoin is getting value because it has been hyped. That is one thing.
Okay.
There is no proper use case around it. It is just a financial instrument. Basically, it is an alternate currency. Let's talk about the other blockchains, public blockchains, where the crypto is like Ethereum, BNB, and all.
Okay.
Why value is getting created? Because there are use cases on the top of the blockchain.
Okay.
To do a transaction on a public blockchain, you need to have the native token. Like in Ethereum, it is ETH. So that is the native token. Whenever I do a transaction on the blockchain, I need Ethereum to process that transaction.
Correct.
That becomes the utility. If there is a utility out there, then people will utilize it. So there will be a demand created. So investment is happening. If I increase the demand, it will increase the value.
Correct.
That become mine. Okay, like you do in the shares,
Right.
right? But in shares, it is completely different. Shares are based on certain other parameters, like how the organization will perform.
Absolutely.
It is crypto is based on the number of transactions who are coming to the blockchain. So if your transactions are coming more, then there is a demand created in the market.
Okay.
When the demand is created, then it should have supply, either equivalent supply, then the price will be stable. If supply is less, the prices are going to be higher. If supply is high, then prices is going to be low.
Right.
There is a simple same fundamental it was there from the investment perspective.
Correct.
Now the next another part comes into the play is the liquidity. If I have more liquidity available with me, then I can go and invest it anywhere.
Correct.
If there is some situations around it and I want to liquidity back,
Correct.
then I will take out liquidity from there. Means I will sell it. So the more supply is there and demand is not there that much.
Correct.
It will go down.
Right. Right. But in that scenario, say when you mentioned that government is creating an equivalent to that digital currency, what would be the use cases of those?
See, the best use cases can be there if it is blockchain. Then all the CBDCs of the world can be integrated together, make it more faster system to do the international transaction.
Like currently we use Swift or something similar platform.
So Swift is there, but it is a time-consuming activity.
Right.
So if I want to do a transaction from here to US, it will take 2 to 3 days. But if I want to do the transaction through blockchain, it will be immediate.
Okay.
If I want to transfer a crypto from here to US, it will take few seconds.
Correct.
And the person will receive it immediately.
Immediately. Correct.
That is the difference.
Like for example, let's say international money transfer is one of these use cases. But when this thing was hot topic during the election, not election, but during the budget session few years back, there was this talk. There were these talks going on about that individuals residing in India would be getting a lot of benefits from digital currency with respect to subsidies, with respect to grants, with respect to a lot of other things. What are your opinions on that?
No, again, so it's the faster way to distribute, right? See, again, so whatever technological adoption is happening anywhere, it has to be adopted for certain things. So if I am an individual, organization, or government, if I'm adopting some technology, then I'm trying to bring more transparency into the system. That's one thing. Make things faster, and and direct interactions basically. Like crypto is direct P2P transfer. If I'm transferring it to you, it will be done immediately. If I have to go to the bank, then I have to add your account and then do the transactions and all.
Right.
right? If we want to make those things to go away, then we have to adopt that kind of technology, basically.
So what you're saying is that if we introduce this digital currency, we would be able to avoid the pilferages which happen during the process of disbursing
Exactly. See, end of the day, time is money.
right. Time and quality also, like, so for example, let's say a simple example, if there's a person who needs to get 1,000 rupees from the government in their bank account at the end stage, this is a common saying that उसका 30% 40% ही actual इंसान के पास पहुंच पाता है.
Exactly.
So we would be able to like
Do it faster.
do it faster and in the most efficient manner that the actual person gets the exact number of
Exactly.
amount.
Exactly. See, it's a simple, like if I can have that connect direct, if no middleman is required to do the
Correct.
transaction,
Right.
like the entire department and the other people basically, then it will become more transparent and immutable and the faster way. It will take few
Correct.
seconds to transfer the benefit to the individuals.
Right.
And we are sitting in a country where 140 million people are there, right?
Right.
And almost still almost 200 million people, like almost 20%, 20%, who are like in a very bad shape. So when it comes to the the policies or the benefit to them, it is very very difficult for them, very challenging to reach out to those people basically.
Correct.
And this technology can help them, make it more faster. लेमन वाली भाषा में पढ़ाओ भाई. मोबाइल फोन का अडॉप्शन कैसे हो गया आज की डेट में? हिंदुस्तान के सारे रूरल में लोग पीपल आर यूजिंग मोबाइल फोन्स, स्मार्टफोन्स बेसिकली.
एब्सोल्युटली.
ठीक है, हो गया ना ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, बिकॉज इट ब्रिंग्स द कन्वीनियंस टू द पीपल. जहाँ पे भी कन्वीनियंस आएगा वो टेक्नोलॉजी अडॉप्ट
हो जाएगी.
मतलब वो इनिशिएशन कहाँ से होना है, दैट इज इम्पोर्टेंट. If it is initiated by the government, it will adopt faster.
हाँ, correct. Right.
और जो इंडिविजुअल के बेनिफिट के लिए हो तो अडॉप्शन और फास्ट होता है.
हाँ, बट डोंट यू फील कि जब ये अडॉप्शन हो रहा होगा तो काफी लोगों के माइंड में काफी सारे डाउट्स भी होंगे, सर्टेन चैलेंजेस भी होंगे.
See, change is something which is not easily accepted.
Correct.
सिंपल सी बात है. बट वो चेंज कहाँ से आ रहा है वो इम्पोर्टेंट है. और वो कितनी वैल्यू क्रिएट कर रहा है इंडिविजुअल के लिए वो और इम्पोर्टेंट है. जब मुझे ये पता है, मैं क्यों अडॉप्ट करूंगा? जब मुझे ये पता है कि डायरेक्ट जो सरकार से आना है, मुझे अब किसी डिपार्टमेंट के धक्के नहीं खाने.
मैं तो फटाक से
मतलब वहां से सरकार उधर से भेजेगी, सीधा मेरे पास आएगा. बात खत्म हो गई.
करेक्ट.
The only thing what you need is KYC, right? Know your customer, Aadhaar card, PAN card, that you are the national of this country. That is the information you need.
Right.
Related income that comes from the your PAN card basically. Easily doable.
And it would also solve the purpose of like keeping all the KYC document and the data safe and secure for the government.
Exactly.
So उसके अंदर भी duplication और discrepancies आना खत्म हो जाएगा.
खत्म हो जाएगा. तो adoption की बात है, सरकार चाहे तो कुछ भी कर सकती है.
So we've talked a lot about blockchain, and I feel that the audience is very well aware about what blockchain is now. Perfect. So I want to ask, on the personal note, what made you feel that this is the sector you want to work into after, as you mentioned earlier, that you failed one startup and blockchain is something which is not very, what should I say, कि वो अब तक बहुत ज़्यादा वैलिडेशन उसको मिली नहीं है फ्रॉम दी एंटरप्राइज पर्सपेक्टिव. एंड व्हाट मेड यू फील कि दिस इज द राइट सेक्टर फॉर मी?
There are two things. One, I did one of the certification in private blockchain, which is Hyperledger, back in 2016.
Okay.
So I understood one thing very clearly, that wherever transparency and immutability required, blockchain is a must.
Correct.
That is one thing. Second, when we started just for a use case around it. We want to adopt that technology basically. But when we did our own product viability check, then we realized that none of the existing blockchain can cater this requirement.
Okay.
And that's why we built our own. It's a EVM compatible blockchain. But the challenges which are there Those has to be resolved. Only after that it can be utilized by the enterprise. Look at this. If I want to put a solution, say I'm taking an example of Haldiram.
Okay.
Haldiram is selling so much product in the market. Okay. And there is a counterfeiting also in that.
Correct.
That we understand very well. But what they are selling? They are selling 5 rupees bhujia ka packet. And in a year time, they are selling billions of
5 रुपए के भुजिया के पैकेट.
right. If we talk about the blockchain as technology to be adopted in that, is it possible where the transaction cost is few cents minimum to few dollar?
Right.
Not possible,
Not
right?
possible,
Even
correct.
if it is 1 cent is the cost. 1 cent is equivalent to what? 8 rupees.
Huh.
I'm selling my final product at rupees 5 MRP. Can I adopt it? No.
No.
That's why the enterprise are not adopting. Enterprise will adopt any technology if one of these two things should happen. Either it has to reduce the cost or it should help them in generating more revenue.
Correct.
So either my cost will go down or my revenue should grow.
Correct.
Any one of them should happen. And it should be very cost effective when it comes to the adoption of the technology.
Right.
Otherwise, it will be very difficult for enterprise to adopt because their profit margins are limited.
Right.
And that's why the enterprises, they have not adopted it for a very, very long time. Now, in our case, cost is 6 paisa per transaction.
Okay.
Blockchain software as a service which we are selling is 12 to 15 paisa according to the transactional volume, basically.
Okay.
Now you can put it on Haldiram ki bhujia.
Right. But how were you able to achieve that less number of?
So we have applied
amount?
three patents in that direction,
Okay.
which is our innovation in the blockchain technology. And one of the important aspect, the cost comes from the infrastructure required. See, storing the data at one place is a cost, and then if you multiply it, if you are storing it at the multiple location, then it multiply the cost.
Correct.
Then you have to make sure that the data distribution is happening in such a way that the cost should come to almost equivalent to the centralized system.
Right.
Almost.
Right.
So like 1 MB data storing, it is a cost.
Right.
And if you are storing at the 15 different location or 20 different location, then it multiplied, right?
Correct.
But if you store 1 MB at certain with certain 1 MB and remaining make it more or less, then it will become cost effective.
Right.
Then your transaction cost will go down automatically.
Correct. And you mentioned that you have already managed to get 3 patents for that.
Yep.
Are you okay to tell us more about that patent thing?
So patent, there are 3 patents which we have applied in India, PCT worldwide basically.
Okay.
So the patents is all about, one is for the security purpose, the new consensus protocol where multiple parameters are used.
Okay.
Second, it's for the jumbo sharding protocol, we say it.
Okay.
And it is all about the data distribution basically.
Okay.
So data distribution, so by that patent, it solved 3 problems actually. The problem number 1 is the cost of the infrastructure. So we require very, like a laptop can run a validator node basically. So that kind of infrastructure is required. Second, scalability. Scalability means if there is a transactional volume coming in, there should be no latency because of the network congestion.
Correct.
So whenever we want to improve or increase our transactional throughput basically, we just need to add 20 validator in the network. And because of these two, the data distribution and the low storage requirement, it makes more cost effective basically. So these are the 3 things in the second patent. Third, because we are talking about the enterprise use cases. So enterprise look at when it comes to the research and development, clinical trials, or any data which has to be very confidential.
Correct.
So it requires a private network.
Right.
So we have come up with a new solution called a smart contract-based private network, basically.
Okay.
So, and which will take, like, if I want to set up a private network, it will require a skill set from the different people. Then it requires time and the cost as well. So it becomes a very costly affair. In our case, it will be a day job to create the entire network.
Okay.
So these
So
are
that's
the
how you are able to cut down the cost as well.
exactly. Let's come to the last part because it's a public blockchain. Now this becomes the IPs for us, intellectual property.
Correct.
It becomes the real world asset.
Right.
So our crypto is the fraction of these. And we are the only blockchain in the world, a layer 1 protocol, who is having the fractional of RW as a native token of the blockchain.
Okay. Perfect. And let's say now that you're already, I think 5 to 6 years down the line in the whole process, I want you to look back when you actually started, and since then till now, what are the challenges that you have faced? Because I'm sure now it seems a very small story with no challenges. You were able to come up with these three uh, particular technologies for which you filed the patent as well. But on the ground level, I am sure that there is no journey without certain challenges.
So every founders have. I think you, let me quote a book, 0 to 1.
Yes.
And I think it covers all the relevant points basically out there. The founder's challenges and how to mitigate those. One challenge, the first one, build a right team.
Right.
That is more because we were into the niche, and there are only, I do not know, there should not be more than 500 people who understand the code written out there in the blockchain technology or
And
the entire architecture of this.
this 500 you're talking about India or worldwide?
Worldwide,
Worldwide.
I'm talking about. See, writing code on the top of blockchain is different part of the story.
Correct.
You can find thousands or hundreds of thousands of people around it. But the writing a blockchain itself is a big thing.
Correct.
And there are very few people. It took plenty of time for us to learn. Plenty of time to learn and understand the entire architecture of a layer 1 public blockchain. And this is the in-house learning through research and all. We build it in-house only. So we use the EVM compatibility code because that is required. Virtual machine is there. And the rest, we did it on our own by understanding line by line code. That is one challenge. Having the right team, right mindset people working with you who see your vision as their own vision.
Right.
That is one important aspect. Second, to run a show, you need money
Absolutely.
because you have limitations, right? That again, founder has to start from the day one itself. They have to plan properly that how much time it is going to take. Have a 50% more contingency plan. When you are innovation, you do not know how much it will be successful, right?
Correct.
So you need to have that also. And you need to plan that how much money will be required for that. And then you need to start thinking in the direction that how much you have in your pocket right now, for how many months or years you can sustain, and then remaining money from where it will come.
Correct.
Second, third, customer. So usually customer acquisition is a big challenge for any startup because they do not have any brand name.
Right.
And there are very few companies who give that opportunity, or very few people who help them, or who can under the founder's vision, basically.
Right.
So that is again, we need to think, we need to go to the market, try to identify who can understand and give the opportunity, even in free of cost.
Right.
That is the third important aspect which every founder has to consider on the date.
Right.
The fourth big problem, every founder thinks that their product is a super hot shop.
Correct.
Now there are two parts which comes into the play. What is your product? Is it a B2B product or B2C product?
Correct.
So if it is a B2B product, then your customer segment is entirely different.
Right.
When it is a B2C product, then you need to have that is there any requirement for that particular product or not, and that you can get through surveys only,
Right.
right? So you need to either do survey in one way or other way,
Right.
but you need to have that information, intact information, that whatever you are building in B2C, there is a demand for that or not, or it can create a demand or not, or it is what kind of convenience it is bringing in the individual's life.
Right.
These are the four factors sequentially, but no, number one is the first. If it is in B2C, it has to have the information, relevant information for the adoption or the convenience it will bring in the individual's life. Like,
Correct.
let me give an example of the UPI. Why it has created so much value over a period of time? Because it is giving the convenience.
Right.
Internet is there in the rural area. They can easily pay money. Now, smartphones are there.
Correct.
It is bringing the convenience basically. Any product which will bring the convenience or value, it will create value to the individual's life, it will be adopted.
Right. So these were the challenges. Were there any other challenges addition to that?
So day-to-day challenges is there in the founder's life. Okay, so he has to do, or he or she has to do everything. They have to do all the budgeting, they have to do all the accounting, they have to do all the financing, they have to do the customer acquisition, they have to involve in the development part also. So it is day to day. There are so many challenges one way or other way.
Correct.
But the bigger ones are these. Like, identify the product, acceptance of the product, money required for that, resources required for that. These has to be solved, and these are the biggest challenge actually. If these are solved at the initial stage, then there is no problem. You can grow at any extent.
Correct. And one thing you mentioned, that there are very less number of people in the entire ecosystem which have the proper knowledge, right? In that scenario, do you think networking would work in this particular sector? Because
Networking cannot work. See, anything, if there is no way that you can get anything free.
correct.
See, like we are sitting in India. A resource in India is cheaper, but if I hire the same resource in US, it multiply my cost.
Absolutely.
So that is a challenge again,
Right.
And when it comes to our technology, blockchain technology, then you will find maximum resources sitting out somewhere outside India. Very less in India.
Right.
The only way is the research, basically. These challenges are, again, sourcing is a big challenge if it is into the niche technologies. If it is a old technology or anything where you have multiple resources, then it can be easily to get.
Perfect. And when we are talking about the infrastructure, you mentioned that we need to have the right infrastructure, and we have this co-working space where we would want this to become a suitable place where companies like yours can come and work upon. So what would be the necessary infrastructure that we would require to have at our place so that we can cater to the needs of the companies like yours?
Three things. Number one, if it is a technology or any company, require an internet, high speed. Second, because the people will be coming in, they should have convenience in having food and other things. And third, a better environment.
Right.
Only three things, nothing else.
So apart from so if we have a stable internet and the other amenities that we have, we can cater to the needs of the technology company. So we do not require those big servers or big FT technology, like hardware. That
Not necessarily. See, every company wants to keep their data with their own infrastructure.
Correct.
So you do not need to provide that kind of There are already, managed services, AWS and
Correct.
cloud basically, owned by Microsoft, AWS or Google. They use that only. And easy, they can set up that very fast basically.
Okay.
So they do not need any hardware and other things. They need their internet has to be there to connect the laptop. They should feed themselves. That's it, and there should be a calm and the not
Environment.
noisy environment, basically,
Perfect.
so that they can concentrate on their work. Simple.
Awesome. So we're moving towards the end of the podcast. So I want to have this one fire round, and where I'll be giving you certain sectors, and whatever comes to your mind as the first thought, you just have to tell me like how the blockchain would make the process more smooth and more fast. So whenever you're ready, you'll let me know.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So health tech.
Health tech is where data can be stored, immutable, and shared for a limited time.
Okay. Insurance.
Distribution and settlement of the insurance real time.
Reality sector.
Reality is RWAs, real world asset fractionalization.
Transportation.
The entire transportation management and traceability through IoT devices and the blockchain to make it more transparent.
Aviation.
So many things.
Ha.
Number one, for any company who is into the aviation industry, they are giving the rewards to the general public because their customer is the normal people, right?
Right.
If those reward can be based on blockchain based tokenization and tradable, it can create more value.
Right. Food and beverage industry.
All packed food product has to be traced from the source till the time it is coming to the retail.
Like to avoid the counterfeiting part.
Counterfeiting part.
Hospitality.
Carbon footprint.
Right. Awesome. So the last question for the episode: what advice would you give to an entrepreneur who's looking to start their venture into blockchain technology?
Number one, use case. Number two, what kind of problem it is solving. Actually, if it can be solved by the centralized system or not, that comparison. Third, cost effectiveness. And fourth, once they are ready with these answers, they should not lose their vision at all, whatever is the situation.
Right.
And the last one, to keep their mental health stable, they need to do one thing very important, that they need to keep 1 hour daily, whatever is the situation, whatever is the environment, for themselves to do the activity which they like most.
And what do you do for that?
I go to the gym, work out.
Awesome.
So
Thank you.
I don't use phone for that duration. I don't touch. As soon as I enter into my gym, I put my phone aside and then I'll pick it back once I'm done with my gym workout.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming and giving us these many insightful information. I think we are very right on time.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And thank you for inviting. I really appreciate it. And this is a good setup.
Thank you so much.
I really liked it.
Awesome.
See, personally, I say only, if I didn't like it, I said like there are certain issues, but I really like this entire place you are running.
I'll give you the small tour of the first floor also, and I'm sure you would love that. Awesome.
Sure. Perfect.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks a lot. So that was our today's episode. If you like such kind of content, please do share it with relevant people, and do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you in the next episode.